heirloom jewellery has to be a piece of large, ornate jewellery with loads of gems set in there in a quite traditional style. Hi, my name is Lorna Romanenghi and I am a jewellery designer maker, and today I will be debunking 3 popular misconceptions about what heirloom jewellery is and should be. Hi, my name is Lorna Romanenghi and I am a jewellery designer and maker. My work has been exhibited internationally and has won numerous awards along the way. Here, on my channel, I will take you by the hand, giving you VIP access to behind the scenes of the jewellery world, so you can feel more confident and educated when buying, commissioning, or simply appreciating jewellery. To make sure you don't miss out on any new content, click the subscribe button below. So, what is heirloom jewellery? Well, that's a question that I often like asking you. And I've asked this question to many people throughout the year, and I've also been posting it on my social media, and I'm always interested to hear the answers. And a popular one that I get back seems to identify 3 main aspects that a lot of people think define a piece of heirloom jewellery. Misconception number 1. Heirloom jewellery has to be expensive and valuable. Now, I disagree that it should be expensive, but I agree entirely that it should be valuable. What do I mean by that? Valuable is a term that means loads of different things. Yes, it can be expensive, that sort of meaning of it can be monetary value, but there are loads of different kinds of value out there, and I believe that a piece of heirloom jewellery should have high value but high sentimental value. This does not equal being expensive. So one of the things that I often ask, as I said, is what is a piece of heirloom jewellery? And a lot of the replies I get is about the monetary value of them. So they have to be expensive, they have to be invaluable materials, they have to be something that is left for prosperity because it has that kind of monetary value behind it. But then I like to ask, what do you see as your heirlooms in your family? What's been passed down from generation to generation? And a lot of the time the answer is very different to the definition that I've just been given. So for instance, not just in the area of jewellery, but a lot of heirlooms are scarves, sewing boxes, little trinkets, even things like cookie recipes and soup recipes. Now, if you think about all these objects, are they expensive? Do they have high monetary value? No. But they have very high sentimental value. That is the key to what an heirloom is. Just if something is just expensive, it doesn't mean that it's an heirloom. It just means that it's expensive. But if it means nothing to you, and it meant nothing to the person that owned it before you, then it's not an heirloom. It's just a piece of expensive jewellery. However, if you've got something that even, let's say, is just a very simple pair of like silver earrings that maybe cost you 20 quid and their value isn't that high, but you love them with all you've got, they symbolise a moment in your life, they symbolise something for you and it's very personal to you, it's something that you want to be handed down, you want that story to progress, you want it to be an object that ties you to other generations. No matter how expensive or non-expensive it is, if your sentimental value is high, that is what makes it an heirloom. Misconception number 2. It has to be old-fashioned and traditional in style. Now, this seems to be something that comes up quite a lot. And the main reason for it is because if you think about the pieces of heirloom jewellery that you maybe own, your family maybe owns, yes, they are very maybe traditional in style, maybe Victorian, dating back to Victorian times, a lot of stones, a lot of gems in the kind of, maybe a common one that I often get told is the kind of floral motifs with loads of stones in it. And yes, that is very true. But why? Why do you think that your idea of a piece of heirloom jewellery is in a very traditional, dated style? Because it wasn't back then. That piece of jewellery was not designed to be old-fashioned. It wasn't even designed at that point to be a piece of heirloom jewellery. It was just a piece of jewellery that meant something to the person that bought it. And it was back then as well, if you think back to Victorian times or even before, or people didn't have as much choice as we do now. They didn't have as much money as we do now. So when someone bought a piece of jewellery, it was special. It really meant something. It was a gift to symbolize something very specific. And that's why it became an heirloom, because these pieces were treasured, they were loved, they were adored, they were handed down, usually on kind of momentous occasions like weddings. You'd get this handed down and a story would be told with it, and then on and on this progressed. But at the time when it was bought, it wasn't traditional in style, it wasn't dated, it was fashionable. It was what was in trend at that point. It was what that person liked. It was what went with the time, with the era. So to say now, if you wanted a piece of heirloom jewellery to be made, or a grand piece that you can see becoming an heirloom, then to have it in your mind that an heirloom piece of jewellery has to be old-fashioned is not really correct, because it just happens to be old-fashioned now. But if you think of making a piece of heirloom jewellery now, it shouldn't really have those values. It should just be something that you love and adore, something that means something to you. Does that make sense? Misconception number 3. That it is passed down from past generations. And you're thinking, well, yeah, that's kind of what makes it a piece of heirloom jewellery. Correct. Yes, it is passed down from generation to generation. But the thing that I want to address in this misconception is that it always seems to be something that is talked about from a past perspective. So it's almost like heirloom jewellery already exists, like talking about a fossil. It's there and it will progress and it will carry on being an heirloom. Yeah, very true. But let's think about this from a future perspective. Let's think about this from us starting the jewellery journey. Let's think about, actually, what about my pieces of jewellery becoming an heirloom, even though I hadn't maybe planned them to become an heirloom? Because back in the day, I'm pretty sure that that person, when they bought that floral brooch that they loved and adored, at that time, they were thinking about themselves. They were thinking about what they liked and the moment that they wanted to remember. It's only in their lifetime that progressed that that piece of jewellery became something so important to them that then they wanted to pass it on. And now it's become a family heirloom. But it was never bought with the intention of it becoming an heirloom. But I think somehow a lot of people think that that piece, because it's so important now, it was bought with that kind of important goal to be carried on. But at the end of the day, it's just an inevitable process, an inevitable journey that piece of jewellery goes on if it's something that you love, and again, it goes back to the sentimental value. If it has that sentimental value to you, it will become an heirloom for future generations. So I think when you're buying a piece of jewellery, when you're thinking about buying a piece of jewellery and you want something that is has that connection with you, something that's that special, maybe think about it possibly becoming a piece of heirloom jewellery. And don't just consider heirloom jewellery as something that already exists, but something that you can make exist, something that you can start, and it kind of goes back to you. This is something that I love thinking about. I love thinking about being the catalyst for a journey and imagining what that journey could be, not just looking at old pieces and imagining what their journey from the past have been. I'm really interested in the time span that kind of spans before and after me. So when I'm thinking about heirlooms, I'm thinking about past and future. So have a little think about that. Have a little think about not just heirloom as what it was, but what it can be and what you can make it be. That's not grammatically correct, but you know what I'm talking about. So this is something that I feel very passionately about. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know I feel very passionately about this topic. And if you're interested in seeing how I try to capture this aspect of an heirloom and how to try and capture the aspect of a potential future heirloom to be made, then go to my website that's magically appearing down here in 3, 2, 1, boom, there. And just have a look and have a read about how I approach this. And maybe it's something that will just make you think, or it might be something that you actually might be interested in. And if you have any more questions about this and any questions about certain aspects about how I do it, then please just drop me a line and I'm happy to answer any questions. As you can tell, I like rambling on about stuff. I love talking about these topics. It's the reason why I do what I do. So if you have any questions, you're just making me happy, really. So please just leave any comments down below or write to me through social media or through my website. But also, if you like what you've watched and what you've listened to, then please subscribe to my channel and press the little bell button at the bottom. I'm sure it has a name. I don't know what it is. I just call it the little bell button. And that notifies you to when I release a new video. And I'm hoping to start increasing the amount of videos that I put out there and hopefully giving some real advice and real help to people out there who need it, who need a little bit of jewellery guidance, or also any of you that actually just want to learn a little bit more about the secrets and the stories behind the jewellery and in the jewellery industry. So I am here to answer all your questions, all your queries, and let you into a few secrets that you maybe didn't know about. So yeah, please subscribe to my channel, please hit the little bell button, and I can carry on creating all this fun content for you. So thanks for listening and see you all in my next video. Bye.